Hello and welcome back to another episode on Heal Out Loud. And on today's episode, we have Tinisha with us. Hello, Tinisha.
Hi, guys.
So Tinisha is a visibility coach and she helps women become irresistible and magnetic. Tinisha, can you tell us a little bit about your work and your personal journey and what led you to become a visibility coach? Thank
Yeah,
you.
sure. So essentially, I help women break the fear of being seen, which means a multitude of things and that's what I came to understand through my own journey. So my medicine has come through what I have gone through throughout my whole life. It's taken me a really long time to get to knowing and understanding that I am a visibility coach. I knew I was here to do something, but not essentially this. I just kept being called. Then through my own journey, which really started off with me being now understanding when I was at school, I was so afraid of people. I was so afraid of the world. If you could put me in a cupboard and hide me, I loved that. I loved COVID for that reason. I loved to hide, right? So growing up, I really, really struggled with society, friendships, people. I would shrink myself. Then I started to come more into myself in my 20s, where I started to understand how I liked to express myself, but I still held back other parts of my world, which was like speaking, my throat chakra, my truth, who I really was. And I guess my journey and the universe started to play with me and direct me onto the right course through a multitude of ways. I have had meningitis twice, once during pregnancy. And the first time was probably my biggest spiritual awakening that I had, and how I actually tapped into the fact that I think I am going to use manifestation to heal my body. So I became obsessed with mindset work, with spiritual work, with energy transformation. And I went back to work, but I just felt so repressed in a 9 to 5 job all of a sudden that I was just thinking to myself, oh my gosh, like what is going on with me and my body? And what I really started to notice is that I had developed fibromyalgia through meningitis, which is basically a pain that courses through your whole body. But it started to be my internal navigation system. And what I came to understand is that I've always been an empath, and an empath is here to heal the world, which is why we feel so deeply and so sensitively, and which is why we have a fear of being seen. Because if you feel the world so deeply, it's quite scary, right? You don't know what to do with all those emotions until you learn to navigate that world. And then going through my journey of being like, okay, fine, I want to be a healer, realizing I had this huge fear of being seen, which is a witch wound from past lives and a genetic coding, what be it, that basically lives within us as women, which makes us so afraid of being seen in our truth and being in our power. So I literally could not start a business. I didn't know how to speak. I didn't know how to. I could create a website, but I couldn't create from truth. My tech would always go. I would always find ways to block myself. And then I realized, so it's through it that I realized, okay, it's literally within me. Everything is within me. I am afraid of being seen. I'm blocking myself. I'm procrastinating and all of these things. And that's how I came to be a visibility coach, because I literally became so obsessed with the witch wound. I am so obsessed with like the whole witchcraft and that era as well, because I know we are so magical
Yeah,
as
thank you
women.
so much. Thank you so much for sharing all of that, and it's amazing to listen to your story. Like I had an idea of some of your story from since I've been following you. However, I didn't know about your sickness and this, so I'm
Yeah.
so sorry that that happened. However, I also know that it's through illness or breakups or something that really bad happening to us in our lives is what pushes us to either go and chase who you're really meant to be,
100%.
or you keep spiraling. So at the same time, I'm glad that you use this to
Yes.
become a visibility coach and to share with us all the amazing things that you have prepared for our listeners today. And from there, I want to ask the how, Tanisha, like, okay, it's amazing to listen to your story.
Yeah.
But how did you manage that from wanting to hide in the cupboard to now being on social media? And I see your like reels of yours come up for me every day,
Yeah.
and the energy behind it is so powerful, so irresistible. So
Yeah.
to our listeners, how can they get to the same place as you?
Okay. So if I had to say, I'm going to say it's a woman in her power, but I'm really going to break down what that actually means because I don't actually think many people understand what that truly means. And a lot of people throw that around like, okay, you need to be in your power. You've lost your power. Being in your power is being completely detached from your external reality and literally not giving yourself to your senses, what you can see, what you can hear, what is going on around you, knowing your truth and what you want to be, your reality within you, and deciding that for yourself. And there's a transition period where your outer world will not show you what you want to be true. So you have to cultivate it within your mind. And that's how it all starts to, let's say, reintegrate. Like the world starts to disappear and then reappear. And you have to go through this transition and you have to hold your power through it. There's also holding your power in relationships where you don't allow someone else, and I mean this in a multitude of partners, mothers, fathers, cousins, everyone. No one can walk in a room and decide how you get to feel. Comes with and starts with you gaining control of your conscious mind and you holding your vibration. So it's about holding your vibration no matter what happens in your external world. And the way that you do that is the law of detachment. You have to detach from everyone around you. I am detached from my partner, from my husband, from my kids. I do not let someone else's emotions dictate how I get to feel that day. I decide. I decide how that day is going to go. And it took me a really long time to understand that. And how this plays into the fear of being seen is the fear of being seen is the fear of being judged, the fear of being criticized, the fear of persecution, which comes from the witch wound, because a woman in her power was persecuted. Okay, she was the one that they sought after, the woman on stage. So we are so afraid of being that woman now in this timeline and having eyes on us, being it in social media, being it in rooms, that we, in the smallest situations, we do it in every single, like small pockets of our world where we will please to be accepted and we will mirror other people's emotions. We will fall into what they need us to be. We won't even have goals for ourselves because that means choosing ourselves. So it's about holding your power, detachment. It's not as easy as I'm saying it is. It takes practice. It's being able to love someone but being detached from them. That's like literally magic.
Yeah, thank you so much. And exactly as you just said, it's easier said than done because I've been studying a lot about the law of assumption, the law of attraction, the law of detachment. And I think the law of detachment is one of the hardest to. So there are days where I am fully detached from my outer reality. And I know I have this faith and I have this knowing that my 3D reality will catch up with all that I want. So 3D
Yes.
reality for the listeners is this reality we're living in right
Yes.
now. So I know that I need to change my inner reality first and then my outer reality will change. However, there are other days where I can't detach completely and it feels like my brain is fried, literally. Like I'd want to consciously, I'd want to detach because I know it's going to help me, but I can't. So do you have any tips and tricks on how to live, how to apply the law of detachment?
Yeah. So I guess what the first thing is you need to know, have direction in your world. You need to know where are you going and why do you want this so badly, and you need to become so emotionally attached to that thing. So for me, it became, for example, like, what is my sole purpose and why does it feel so big for me? Why do I want to help women? Like, what does it actually mean and look like, and how does it make me feel? And I was able to put that on a hierarchy of that came first for me because it fueled me. And if it fuels me, then I serve everyone around me from a cup that is so full of joy and magic and love. And every time I feel misdirected, and you know, we as human beings, there's a reason why we have emotions. We do need to feel into them and we need to dissect them and understand why they are calling. So it's not about, you know, overriding negative energies. It's really about understanding, like, why is this energy calling me? Why is it here? And then, you know, redirecting yourself. I do find journaling and scripting to be amazing. One tool that I love is 3 pages. So it's called Morning Pages by the artist Sway. When you start writing long enough, the universe, spirit will come through you and it will start talking to you about why you're feeling the way you are and how to get back onto course. And also, even if you go, you know, if you continue to do it, it will also help you navigate yourself through this world. But I would say become so emotionally attached to the goal that you want. Like, you need to have this passion and fire in you. Sometimes the fire needs to come from something that wronged you. Actually, I call it sacred rage. Rage is so powerful, and there's a lot of shame around it for women, but it's so magical for us for using something that happened to us to feel something we actually want. And that charge of energy, it brings me back. I can't say it always brings me back to be like, oh yeah, I'm going to do lots this day. Cause you know, I have fibromyalgia. I call it a gift. I've been gifted this because I'm not supposed to be everywhere. I'm supposed to use my energy like it's a magical potion. I just literally see as sacred, and I'm supposed to really think about where I place myself. And that's why I get called back to rest, emotionally charge the goal. You need to know where you're going. Get so excited and passionate about that vision. Then yeah, hopefully that's a good enough answer for you guys. I mean, that's what's helped me.
Yeah, it's amazing. You made me realize something about myself because I have endometriosis, and you just changed the narrative for me to see it as a gift to, because when I'm around people that stress me out, my endometriosis flares up. So you just twisted something for me. So thank you. And just to make sure that I am understanding and the listeners will understand. So we need to get emotionally attached to where you want to go. So the fire that it gives you. But at the same time, you detach from the from other people's emotions, and if something bad happens, you detach and you keep on knowing that you're going to get to
The
your goal.
goal, yeah, the
Yeah.
vision, the soul, if you want to call it, there's a soul purpose, there's a reason why you're here. And if you really, that will give you power. I mean, that will
Mhm.
give you passion and fire within you to know that, you know, the universe has placed you here for a reason and that everything that is happening around you is for you. Okay. So if it's happening for you, then it's either a karmic cycle to break, a lesson to be learned, and you are supposed to take something from that, which is why, you know, the journaling and the writing does help support the journey. But it's knowing that, yeah, everything is happening for you to help you navigate towards your journey. And even to the point of our flare ups, you know, who's not really supposed to be in our vicinity, who should we move away from. We're not in our power if we're not listening to our bodies. We have also been gifted this really strong intuition of how to navigate this world, listen to it. There's also understanding our very unique blueprints of, I don't know if you've done human design, but I am, you know, for some of us need to actually go into hermit, which is hiding to restore, knowing that about yourself. Being seen isn't necessarily deciding that you're going to be in the spotlight every single day. It's knowing that you can turn it on and off again. You decide. That's being in your power, right? Deciding, I'm going to walk into this room and actually today I'm going to turn it off. I want to turn it off today.
Yeah. Wow.
Does that make sense?
A lot. It's such amazing information, Tanisha. Really. Thank you so much. I want to ask you, like, what are the biggest blocks that you see, mainly in in this fear of being seen? You told yourself you wouldn't check his phone again, yet you checked it. You promised yourself that you're not going to chase someone again that's going to make you feel unworthy. You told yourself you were done chasing someone who makes you feel like an option, but you're still waiting for a text back at 11 p.m., wondering what you did wrong. You've read every book, you know what anxious attachment is. You probably sent that voice note to your best friend and it starts with, I know I'm being crazy, and nothing has actually changed. But here's what nobody tells you. This pattern isn't a mindset problem. It's older than any relationship that you've ever been in. It was wired in your nervous system before you even knew what love was supposed to feel like. And you cannot think your way out of something that lives that deep. Break the Pattern is a one-day workshop where we go back to where it all started. The real root, not the version that you've already processed. And we interrupt it. One day, to finally understand why this keeps happening and what it actually takes to stop it. Link is in the show notes. See you there.
The fear of being seen is, do you know what? It's so fascinating. I don't know if you feel like, have you ever experienced it in your world?
Yeah, it's funny because when you mentioned that you liked COVID for that reason, I loved COVID. And yes,
Yeah.
and for me, I've always had this fear of being seen. And now I'm working online, so yeah.
It's about, so as I've gone really now deep within the world of this fear of being seen, it's really, okay, where do I even start with this? So it will block you in every single capacity of your world, okay? It's like you've placed a lens on your brain that will, when you walk to, for example, if drop off kids to the school gate, it will put it on there. When you try to build your website, it will put it on there. When you try to get dressed for the day, when you try to speak your truth, if you're in an office setting and you know the answer, you won't speak it. It will block your beauty because it's the beliefs that you hold. If we really go to that first, is that, okay, what beliefs do you hold about being seen? And it's that, eyes will be on you. And that is the real fear. Okay. So the fear is now trying to keep you safe. And it's trying to by keeping you safe, it keeps you secluded from the world. It dims you. It hides you. Our minds have one role, and it's to keep us safe. And that really is where fear begins. So, for example, procrastination, it's about never really achieving the piece of work that you have this desire for in your conscious mind, but your subconscious mind actually, no, I don't actually want to ever go there. I never want to get onto that platform. I never want to achieve that goal because it means being, whether that's a promotion, whether that's a course you're trying to record, whether that's starting a podcast, whatever capacity that could mean, it will block you in the most smartest ways. So, and also perfectionism as well. It's the same thing. There's a multitude of ways and that it plays out. So now I do readings because I am a psychic. I do readings on people's Instagrams and websites, and I am able to read the fact that they have blocked their magic in a tech form. Does that make sense? So
Yeah.
it's so vast. It
Yeah.
shows up in so many ways.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I just had before we started, I had a session with one of my clients, and I was just explaining how everything is energy. And so for those who do not have biology, our cells have a mitochondria inside them, which is the powerhouse of the cell, which is energy. And according to physics, we're going to go back to what we learned in school and we thought we would never need. According to physics, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, so it's transferred. So definitely, some people think that this work is delusional, it's magic, it's witchcraft, it's all that, but it's the truth. Even science backs this
Yeah.
up. It's everything is energy. And you can walk into a room and someone can smile at you, but you know that beneath that smile, the energy is negative. And sometimes you can walk into a room, no one said anything, no one smiled, but you just feel so safe.
Speaks so loudly. And this is why the success on Instagram, and I'm like, it's just an example of platforms of a reel that can go viral, and the same person I can create the same reel and be in two different energies, and the impact is so different. Breaking the fear of being seen is basically asking the universe to remove the invisibility cloak, to say, you can keep posting, but with the fear of being seen, and no one will find you.
Yeah, very
Do you know?
true.
Because it's so deep rooted in your subconscious mind. And it's not just the act of showing up, it's so much more deeper coded than that, which is why the work that I do became into existence. Because if it was as simple as just post more, it's not. It's your truth, your story. It's being able to have discernment and like seeing something that you don't agree with and speaking on it. There's so many people afraid to speak on politics, even though they so deeply disagree with it, that they're just not speaking truth on their
Mm-hmm.
platforms. And this is exactly why. I mean, if I mentioned I was a visibility coach, but the reason I have decided this for myself is because the world needs, like it deeply needs transformation. And the women, I mean, because I work with women who are empaths and need to be seen, are in hiding. And they're the ones holding the medicine right now. And we need them to stand up. And that's why it's so important for me to do this work, because it's only going to change through us. So the fear of being seen needs to go if we are ever going to see this change in our lifetime.
Yeah, makes so much sense. Thank you, Tanisha. And what does it look like for a woman to embody confidence, visibility, and magnetism daily? I know you've already touched on certain of these points, but if the listener wants to take something from this and to start applying it slowly, like what does it take for them to step into their power? Thank you.
So it's the embodiment of it. It's so if we say, you are detaching, essentially dissolving your ego. You're no longer doing things to seek validation. You're doing it because you feel called to do it. You feel fully expressed. So it's the things that you do in private that will speak loud in your external world. And there's a few things that I talk about on Instagram that it's weird. They just came through as an idea and some of them just went very, very viral. So I'll just share those. The first one was the moisturizer theory, which it was just wild because I, in my most darkest moments, didn't moisturize my whole body. So I decided to make a reel about, the fact that I know what's going on in your world if you don't moisturize your whole body after a shower or bath. And it speaks so much about what you decide for yourself in small moments. And it went viral because everyone resonated, girls resonated so much with the message that self-love in moments in hiding, that basically decides and rewires your mind to be, you decide that, the internal hierarchy of where you place yourself in your world. And when you decide that and you change that hierarchy, then your boundaries naturally change for yourself. And so moisturizing yourself is just one really small pocket, an example. There's so many others of doing things in private. The second thing is getting ready fast. So choosing you first. So we all know how, the brain, well, most of us would know about the brain chemistry in the morning, but that again puts the internal hierarchy of you first. So when you choose you first and you change the way that you have orchestrated your mind to see your internal world, it starts reflecting into your external world. You decide you first, and then you choose you in other pockets of your world first too, like boundaries and so on. The other thing being you have to have a goal. And I know this is so simple, but as a woman, if you do not have a direction that you're going, and there's so many people I've spoken to who literally do not have a goal at all, there is nothing directing your days, your power will be taken away from you because there is no direction. There is no lighthouse. Where are you going when you wake up? What are you like? Who are you then that day? You will be pulled into everyone else's goals. and you'll become a byproduct of everyone else's life. I think if you have a goal, you literally change your internal compass. You just know where you're walking. Your diary is different. The friendships that align with your goals become different. You put yourself into the vicinity of different spaces, whether it be a fitness goal, then you become, this is how we quantum leap, you put yourself in a group which aligns to you, and then all of a sudden you're having different conversations of expansion. And there you go, you're on your trajectory to enter a new timeline because you have. It's so simple, but it's so like we need goals as women. Whether you are self employed or employed, it doesn't matter. Whether you're retired, you need a goal. You need direction to have your power.
Yeah, amazing, Tanisha. This is also juicy information and so true and so real. So amazing. And yes, this morning when I was on my walk, I was listening to something and it said because you mentioned the compass, that the north lies within you. Like,
100%.
where you need to go. So amazing. Thank you so much for all this information. And I like to tell my clients, and I like to tell myself too, when you focus on you and when you choose you, everything else focuses on you and chooses you too.
100%. That's why internal hierarchy, guys, put yourself on top. Put yourself on top
Yeah. Yeah. So
and
true.
the world will change.
Really true. Thank you so much, Tanisha. If any of these listeners, they want to find you online, can you tell us where they can find you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm on Instagram. That's where you'll mostly find me. It's at Align and Shine Coach. But yeah, I'm always hanging around there if you'll
Okay.
find me there.
I'll post the link down in the show notes for your Instagram because it's amazing what you were talking about. Like,
Thank you.
it's amazing because even about the posting and all that stuff, as soon as I'm going through one bad thing in my life, it leaks into every area in my relationships, in the way I feel, in the way I feel like I'm looking, in my
Yeah.
views online. And then on other days where I'm emotionally attached to my goal, detached from everything else and just focusing on me, everything else starts going really well in my life. So yeah,
It
I
does.
get what you say about the woman in power. And yes, so for anyone who wants to step into their power, please go on Align and Shine. She's been helping me so much through her
Yeah,
content and energy. Yeah.
I'm so glad. That's so nice to hear.
Yeah. I'm not sure is there anything else you want to add, Tanisha, before we say goodbye and thank you?
No, not really, but that's it. I guess just really, I think, become consciously aware of where you are hiding. You're hiding in so many different pockets. It's not just about posting online. It's so much more deep rooted in that. Become really aware of how it is holding you back. The witch wound lives very deeply within us as women. Whether you were a witch in a past life or not, there are memories coded within our epigenetics. We hold that truth, and it's time to stand up on stage and change the world. Yeah, there's so many women who have magic within us that need to be seen.
So true. Thank you so much once again,
Thank
Tanisha.
you.
And it's been lovely having you here and for your wisdom. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you.
And see you all next week on Heal Out Loud.